Hi everyone, this is Laura, and I have been playing around with some jewelry pieces again. I wanted to play with some metals the other day, but my hands weren't quite up for making some charms, which I have not done in a really, really long time. But while I was rearranging some of my craft supplies, I came across a few bags of bead caps that I still have in my stash. And there was one particular bead cap, Sharon, who's Soroled one here on YouTube, had just recently made some flower sprays, and I noticed that on one of her sprays she had one of these beautiful bead caps with a little thingamabog. What do they call those? Bubbles, crystals. Those little, um, I don't know what they call it, bubbles. But she had one in here, and it had a stem on it, and it was really, 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 really pretty. And I will attempt to make a flower spray one day, but I just started looking at this, and of course I started playing with it. And let me show you real quick first some of the things that I made when I started playing. And forgive my little painter's tray here because it's totally filthy. I was just working on a project and I didn't have anywhere else to put these, so I didn't lose them. But this is what I made out of those bead caps. And I wanted to share that with you because, as I've told you guys in past videos, I love to buy things and then find more than one use for them. And I love my metal art more than anything. I love incorporating them into layouts and projects. And I made all of these with bead caps. With these particular bead caps, I added some brads, these little tiny baby brads that I have and had in my collection for quite some time. So I made some in silver. And I'm sure you've all seen these before. And I still have a little hot glue on them. These are the little tiny bead caps. So I just flattened those out, put little baby pearls in those, and I made some of those in gold as well as in the bronze. And I hope they're showing up. And these are very tiny, which would be great as little embellies to the center of other things or for cards. Photo corners as little flowers. Endless possibilities. And I have these bead caps that I've also shown before that I squished them down. This one I actually added a flat back pearl to. And this one also has one of those brads. These two are very different bead caps. And this one I added a flower brad. I don't know if you can see that. So you have metal on metal there. And these are the much thicker silver ones. And again, I just added some flat back pearls to these. To some, I actually added brads. And then I also made these. So I would like to show you real quick how I made these. And then I would also like to show them how I incorporated them into some of my projects that I just finished. And I'm doing this for one of my subbies. She had asked me about a previous project. She has saw one of the metal embellies and wanted to know how I made it. So let me start with the big one that I made. Um, like I said, these are just bead caps. And I just kind of pull them apart. like so. And then when I have them sort of opened, I get my little mat and I get my little hammer. And I don't know if you guys remember these hammers. Um, this is what we used to use to make uh, holes in our projects before the copper dials and the chompers and the crumpers. And then I just, for this particular metal embellishment, I actually used two of the bead caps to create that flower. Once you open it up, you just want to smash it, but I don't smash it too much because I don't want to take away all of those divots and ovals and the oval part of the flower because I think that's what makes it beautiful. And then I just layer one on top of the other, offsetting it so that all the petals can show because I am making this to look like a flower. And for this particular one, I used a silver brad, but I think for this one I'll use a different color just so that it can stand out, just so you guys can see it. And let me see. Oh, great. I think for this one I will use a pink one. And because the bead caps do have to go on the needles, they all have a hole in the center. Some have holes bigger than others. So some you can't fit you actually wouldn't be able to fit a brad through. And that's when I use bling or some halfback pearls. Excuse me, guys. And then I just open up my brad, and there you go. And there you have a pretty little flower. Now for these guys, these are a lot thicker. I mean, they're heavy duty. And how I flatten these, because you won't be able to flatten it if you put it down with the feathers pointing down, for the very simple reason is when you tap on it, the actual leaves or petals are going to go into whatever mat or, believe me, you see that? I mean, well, you can't see, but I made a hole in my craft mat already. So take it from one who knows. So I just lay it flat, and because it is a lot thicker, forgive the noise on camera. You can just mute this right now. It will take a few more pounds because it is an extremely thick bead cap. So pardon me one sec, but it will flatten out nonetheless. And depending on how flat you want it, it's how many bangs you will give your flower. And then for this one also, you can add a flat back pearl. This one's a little bit big though. I'm not too fond of how big that is. Or, like I said, you can add a brad. And look at how cute. I love it. Love how stinking cute they are. So that's how I make my flowers for with my metal bead caps. And I just thought you guys would like to see different ways to use those bead caps, especially if, for instance, I bought these on eBay and I accidentally, and I have shared these with many friends. And when I bought them, I didn't realize that I had bought a lot of, I think it was either 500 or 300 pieces. And of course, I'm never going to make that many charms. And although I shared them with so many of my friends, I still have plenty of them left over. So first I started incorporating them in flower vines. Um, and then I made them into, I don't remember what they were calling them 2 years ago, but they all had that metal rock candy, whatever they were calling it. making the sprays with the gems and the metals, um, sort of metal art. And now I just incorporate them in my layouts and in my projects. And if you buy um, a lot of them, like I did accidentally on eBay, and you shared them and you still have plenty left over like I did, um, find some other uses for those bead caps. You'd be surprised how many other ways you can use them. And let me show you real quick some of the projects that I did make um, using those embellishments that I just made, or that I show you how to make also. Let me just pick up these brads. I am so sorry. My wrists are a little swollen, but I'm trying to keep the hands and the mind busy. Okay, so let me show you. This first card I made using the big bead caps that I just showed and demonstrated to you. And so what I did here was, oh, and guys, these are those paper bags I told you that I would be alternating. These were the craft bags. And this one I haven't finished yet, but I said that in upcoming videos I would be altering all the little bags. And this is one of the first ones I did. And I used this Martha Stewart border punch that my sweetie Becca gave to me. I have this beige ribbon trim, and these papers are from A Lost and Found, My Mind's Eye. I have some more of that beige trim, and I don't know if you can see that, but what I did was I actually looped it through each end of these petals, and I made it look like it was a what do they call those, like a slider or a buckle. And then I just added 2 half back pearls. I distressed the whole bag with vintage photo, and then on the back I added another one of those bead cap that I made, Embelly flowers, with another half back pearl. I added 2 buttons here, and I made just a little tiny closure. I think the string might be too long. I might have to shorten that a little bit. And I did not write anything on these yet because I'm not too sure if I'm just going to put all of these little bags as giveaways or if I'm going to use them and send them out to some friends. Still not sure what I'm doing with that. And this was another bag that I made. This is actually a Spellbinders fancy label tag. And this is actually a piece of this paper by K and Company. And these are just all paper scraps that I used. And I just stamped "You're So Special" because, like I said, if I give it away, they can always use it or give it away to someone else and pass it on. I added some flat back pearl and laces, some beige laces or off-white. And then I added some stickles to go all around the label. And I added some bling. And you're wondering maybe where that metal art is at. I added it to the back. These are 2 little bead caps that I flattened out. I just added a little brad to the center, and these will act as my envelope closures for this envelope. So this is another good use for your bead caps, maybe to bind books or to bind envelopes or projects or cards. Like I said, pretty much we can use them for anything. And this card that I stuck my finger on and messed the stickles all up. One second, guys. I just hate to see that big smushy um, on camera. Although it did smush the top, something awful. Maybe I can fix it a little bit later, more later. Um, so in any case, in this, with this particular envelope, I actually used the bead caps as little flowers. And as I've stated before in past videos, for you ladies that buy these flowers with the stems, when you cut your flowers for your project, save your stems because you can use them later on down that road. That's what I actually used for these flowers as the little green stems. I took some wires that I had cut off from other paper flowers and I just incorporated them in this project. So what I did here was these are some graphic 45 leftover scraps. I took a Spellbinders die, which is my lattice rectangles, and I used the second, I believe, no, the third Spellbinder. This is actually one of the teapots for the Spellbinders. This is actually the creamer bowl. I cut it in half and I cut this piece off. It had a little spout and a handle, and I just cut it off and I decided to create a sort of a bowl vase. And what I did was I distressed the papers in green, which was Shabby Shutters and Vintage Photo. Then I added some stickles. I embossed it and I cut it out on my big shots. I also used this little piece of foliage here from the Spellbinders foliage collection of Spellbinders. I added some stickles all around the edge, and I added some little stickle dots and up there. And again, I used my Martha Stewart border punch that I just received in a rack from Becca. And I also made that same border in the back just in case I needed to include a little sentiment or add something to that, like maybe the person's initials if I was going to give it away, maybe with a cameo. And over here I have these clear little buttons that I alcohol inked with cranberry and some string. So those are my projects that I made. And again, I altered those little envelopes that I said I was going to alter. I just wanted to show you guys a nice way to incorporate those bead caps as metal pieces of art or as embellies to use in our projects. We don't have to leave them just in the jewelry aisle. We can incorporate them and use them for any crafty project. Thank you all for watching. I hope you're all having a blessed day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now.